Black girl magic. Girl power. Well, hello. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to I Love You Generations New. I'm your host, Felicia. Can you guys introduce yourselves?
I'm Gifty.
I'm Yade.
Daisy.
Alright, so today we are talking about poverty in Liberia. So according to the World Bank, 54% of the Liberian population is living below the poverty line. This means Liberians live on less than $2 a day. And the country is among the top 10 poorest countries in Africa based on GDP per capita. So why do we think poverty exists in Liberia?
No jobs for the people.
Poverty exists in Liberia because lack of education.
The sad part about this is it's not just adults that are selling. Children are out selling.
Selling things like what?
Selling things like clothes, food, snacks here and there, like freshly made food, or even, like she said, vegetables and things like that.
Yeah. What are some basic characteristics of what does poor look like in Liberia?
The whole country to be poor. Poor in the whole country.
Would you say there's some wealthy people in Liberia?
There's a what?
Would you say there's some wealthy people in Liberia?
Of course. One thing about that I noticed, because I have been to Africa several times, maybe 3 times now since I left when I was 11 years old. I've been back there 3 times. My first time I went, I was really shocked. Really shocked because my country, I mean, even though I was living in poverty when I was there, but I didn't realize that I was living in poverty because I was still young at that time. I was 10 years old, maybe 8 when I left. So me going back there, just seeing how people live, it was shocking to me. You have people are living, they are eating from everyday meal. Like sometimes you eat one day a meal. Wow. And that's how bad it is. And with the fact that in most third world country, Liberia is part of the third world country. So poverty line in Liberia is very damaging.
And I feel like it's not even 50%. It's more than 50%.
Maybe
8%. Yeah, exactly. It's definitely more than 50%. And like, what bothered me the most is how this affects children growing up. You know what I mean? Like, children are laboring.
Yeah.
Little kids are working really hard, sun up to sundown, just to try to survive. And I wouldn't even say the government is doing anything because people who work in the government are not even getting paid.
What was the question?
So what does it look like to be poor in Liberia?
Right, so people in the government are not even getting paid, so people can't even find means of eating. People can't even find means of providing for other family members because, you know, from the war and things like that, people not just taking care of their kids, but they're taking care of extended family as well.
Okay.
So it's like you see these children out in the street selling. You see people just sitting on the side begging and things like that. I feel like that's what poverty will look like to me.
Right.
You know.
And to add on to that, that is what defines poverty. When children are supposed to be in school are literally selling to survive. They rather than being in school and being educated. I know that we have touched on a lot of our conversation on children, something about child abuse. And those are one of the child abuse. That common picture, even though we don't look at it as it being a child abuse, but when a child's supposed to be in school and he or she is running down the street or between cars to sell apple to get $5 or 25 cents, because with the foreign exchange, it would be maybe 25 cents for an apple or maybe 15 cents for an apple, and he or she to be in school, they are down the street selling apple, selling cold water. I mean, and that child don't know different. All he knows is, or all she knows is, to I'm selling to support my mom. You know? That's all they know. Yeah. So that's how far poverty has hit our country.
And it's so heartbreaking.
Yeah, and just the family don't even have money to send those kids to school,
Mm-hmm.
so it's heartbreaking for them. So now the kids, instead of the parent being the breadwinner for the family, the kids become the breadwinner, or maybe the whole family will go out in the field
Right.
to work to bring money home to feed the family.
And back to the question as to what poverty looks like, even the government, like, yeah, they're getting whatever, but how are they getting this money?
They're not even getting paid on time.
Exactly.
That's how you know
And those who are
poverty is.
working closer to the president or whatever, or as it's been said, I don't know how true this is about the government stealing money and stuff like that. Honestly, to me, you're poor if you have to steal money from your people.
I mean,
You know what I mean?
Right. I was gonna say, no,
yeah, honestly, if you have to steal from your people, you're poor. So even the people who are working close to the government are poor.
And you're not giving back to the community.
Exactly.
You're taking away from, and that's one of the reasons why poverty in my country, Liberia, it has a long way to develop.
Very long.
The people are not getting back from the government.
Yeah.
The government are taking.
Taking and
They're
taking
not
and
giving.
taking. Yeah.
So how can a country grow when the people that have money that's supposed
They don't
to
have
back,
any money. They're stealing.
have money.
They're stealing.
Problem is stealing from the people. So it's stealing from the people, and you're supposed to give it to them. You steal it from them. How you expect people to grow? The people just in the middle. They cannot grow.
That's true.
In order for you to grow, the government is supposed to develop some type of plan to give the people that knowledge to grow, and the government is not developing that plan to give it to them. So it's like my mom work out this morning. My mom selling market. The market she sell, she have to pay a table fee.
Right.
Okay, the table fee my mom paying. What team coming back for that table fee?
Exactly.
Okay, are they coming? I mean, are they coming? Are the money that the people taking from me, the money coming back to the community?
I definitely understand
It's
what
not
you're
doing
saying.
that.
I definitely get what you're saying, and that's why I said even the government and the people who are working close to the president. That's why I said they're poor too. Because if you feel like you have to steal from your people, then you too lack.
Right.
Yeah.
You are right.
They just
I got what you're saying.
they just corrupted though.
Right,
Because
corruption.
there's just a
That too.
handful of them. So if you know
Corruption.
somebody, so the handful that have money in Liberia, they just keep it to themselves. They're not giving back to the people, like
Right.
to
the people.
the rich is rich, the
Yeah.
poor is poor.
So then, since
But
we're
not back to the people if you don't have it.
that would be my next
They
question
do
then.
have
So what can the government do to help combat poverty?
What? Like we just discussed. There's so many different avenues that the government can create because people are paying dues. Like just say somebody have this table, they're not just selling here, they're also paying for the section, whatever section they're selling on, they're paying for that section to sell on. The thing about it is people are giving in, but the government is not giving back. So there's no development.
What I'll say is, I haven't been to Liberia for almost 20 years now.
Right.
But what I've heard is that how the government can give back to the people is employing your own people. So it's that I feel like what I've heard from other people who have visited Liberia is that foreigners are coming and they're the ones who are making the business and they're the ones who are collecting the funds.
Right. Well,
So instead of doing that,
it's our people willing. Also, it's not just foreigners are coming in, but our people are they willing to work? Are they willing to work like the foreigner? Because don't forget, we are foreigner in this country. Why are we working hard? It's because we are foreigner. If someone was in our own country, we might not work hard like that.
I understand, but
I think
give
what
your
she was
people
trying to say
chances.
is, I think what she was trying to
Provide
say is,
jobs for them.
Exactly. The foreigners are coming in and creating jobs for the Liberian people. So something the government can do is try to create jobs for the citizen. If you create jobs for the citizen, they'll be able to get opportunities and be able to work and feed a family and survive.
But where that kind of contradicts itself is people work in the government or for the government and are not even being paid.
Right. So it's like,
it's
and
only
that's
recently
why.
though.
No, this is not just something that's happening today.
It's been happening. It's been happening.
This is something that they get paid for the times that they have not been paid.
Some of them get paid for. Some of them get paid $15,000 a month, like the senators. Some of them, and that's too much money to be going to a small number of people.
I mean, I understand that, but what I'm saying is, I'm talking about not the Senate or the president. I'm talking about just the local people who are even working for the government.
Right.
Some teachers are not getting paid.
Right.
Like, teachers who work in the government, public schools,
to
and things like that.
just add on to what you just said with the teachers, because I think it was a riot or
Yeah, there was.
a protest.
Yeah.
That it was protesting for the teachers to get paid, and then this also have to come back to when the teacher don't get paid, how can the children be educated?
Exactly.
Because teachers are supposed to be the one to create avenue for young children.
So
if I'm a teacher and I have to support my
The government.
if I'm a teacher and I have to
So all this lead back to that.
if I'm a teacher and I have to pay for my family well-being, and I'm teaching and I have the knowledge. Let's just say I went to school here and I'm an educator and I pay $30,000 to $36,000 and I take my degree back to Liberia. And I'm not getting paid. What do you think I'm gonna do? Take my degree from them.
People go to charity work. No, not even that long. Forget getting a degree and things like that. Even the teachers that are back home, I agree. You just try to give me a hard time. I'm not gonna get paid. Y'all do what you want to do. I'm not teaching today. You know. Seriously.
That's one of the things I come with a lot of poverty. Let me tell you something, and I'm gonna say this from what my father told me. When a country been in war for 13 years, a president can get there today, tomorrow, the after tomorrow, you will not see the progress over time. Because why? There's a lot of lack of understanding. There's a lot of things that need to be fixed. Even if President John fixed this today, and President Peter got in that chair, yet whatever President John fixed, you will see it, but it will not look as a change. Because there's so many things that's
It's crazy, but they have to change that mentality.
Right, they have to change it, but don't forget that the great country of the United States that we live in, somebody was not getting paid.
Yeah.
For America to be what America is today. Somebody had to work for free for America to be where America is today. You and I getting paid today because somebody was never getting paid. Okay, going back to Liberia, because we're talking about Liberia. There, all these things gonna happen. Will Liberia get to the point that we don't have to deal with poverty? It won't get there.
I understand.
But somebody will have to go through the suffering.
I understand what you're saying, but don't you think the suffering will happen before the new improvement happen? But what I'm saying is, an improvement was already taking place. Now it's going backwards. People are getting paid. People are getting paid. People are getting paid. So now I feel like as of today, I feel like things are going back.
They are going back. So when
Things are going back.
straighten that up.
Yeah,
we can hope.
That's what I'm saying. Like, for example, like you said, people wasn't getting paid back then for us to get paid now.
Right.
So things have improved. Back then in Liberia, or a year or two ago, things was improving. Now it's moving back.
So were you doing
It is the government.
Okay, so were you
And I'm not putting all the blame on the government or whatever, but I'm just saying, like, there could be improvement. There can definitely be improvement. But I'm not seeing the improvement. That's what's really killing me. I'm not seeing the improvement.
That's what I'm saying. You cannot see the improvement.
So it's going backwards.
You cannot see the improvement because the country have a lot of development to do.
I understand that, but it takes things one at a time. For example, let's say if I'm getting paid for working, that should be consistent. It should improve. It shouldn't go back. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But now it's going back, and that's what I'm trying to say. Now it's going back. So it's like I wasn't getting paid, so not getting paid at all. I'm just getting
It's just sad, but is there a chance that it's gonna go forward?
Definitely, anything is possible. Anything is
is possible. I definitely believe that.
What would you say Liberian people can do then to kind of help this change? Because it sounds like you're saying that the government hasn't been as helpful as you would like with this, issue. So what can the people do themselves?
The people doing this in all things. The people doing all things possible to help themselves.
What would be helpful to actually reduce poverty?
What would be helpful to reduce poverty?
America. We need America.
Poverty in Liberia is not a conversation that can be talked about today.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a conversation that can be talked about tomorrow. Because there are people that go into bed eating one meal a day.
Oh yeah.
That's how bad poverty is.
Forget people.
There are people that go into bed not eating at all. A cup of water or maybe a cup of oatmeal.
Yeah.
They're eating that to go to bed a day.
Yeah.
So
and if you're in Liberia, you're eating broccoli frequency, just so that you know it's healthy. So don't think that's poor people food. It's healthy. Me too. Back then people were saying that's poor people food. So I'm just like, that's not poor food. That's healthy food.
I just want to touch on the topic, like you said, what the people in Liberia can do to help with poverty. Let's go back to the war. I know we don't want to talk about it, but we have to talk about it because it's a huge, thing over us. So before the war, there were a lot of people in the villages, in the interior, like we call it, and people in the city. When the war happened, those people from the village came more, like a lot of them came to the city. So now what? We have more people in the city.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Great point.
If you have the people in the city, you have all those people in the city.
population,
They're not educated, number one. Overpopulation, number two. Who's in the village growing crops?
Exactly.
People.
That is very important.
I mean, you still have people in the village that
Not many though.
No, not many.
Because I'm not saying this from a first-hand experience. I'm saying this from a secondary experience, meaning like people who have visited Liberia and who have told me this is what it is, and she's correct. People are migrating to the city and leaving the village. Who's growing the rice? Who's doing that?
And the reason why
there's so many resources back in the village than there is in the city.
The reason why I brought agriculture up because Liberia, if a country is like really poor, you have to be, and in order to improve the government, you have to be at least able to sustain yourself. If you're not able to sustain yourself, like basic need, like food, shelter, if you're not able to do that, how can you, you're always reaching out for help. So I feel like a way for Liberia to improve the government or to like help poverty. So they should promote more like agriculture. They should promote that.
Yeah.
Because if the people were hungry, so
let me say this. In Africa, when you're in the village, I was raised in the village. I went to the farm before I farm as a child. My grandmother, you get sitting no problem. I'm just saying, as a child, that's how I was raised. My grandmother put me on her back, took me to the farm, and back then there was money from where my grandmother told me they would take the rice ticket to the market and sell.
Exactly.
So now maybe we have to think about the fact that people are not growing rice, or people are not selling rice the way they used to because people are not willing to buy it. There's no money.
Rice is
they're importing. So they shouldn't be. That's because people are not back in the village providing those funds.
Okay, well listen. Now this is the thing here now. When rice is being imported into the country and it's not being grown no more, then people that used to be in the village that used to fix that rice now coming into the city to look for a job.
I get what you mean.
So now you see where I'm going?
I get what you mean.
So then that's why now agriculture is not being developed like the way it used to be when I was a kid. I was a baby.
But it
No, but it can't be true because not this now. there's no shoe because now this is what's coming at hand. Now you have business because don't forget.
No, I understand.
The person that's bringing in rice.
It's easier.
That's an agreement. That's a business that I will have to sign with that person, with that company, and say, okay, we're signing business for you. This is what we need. Paper rice to be coming in. That's an agreement for money.
You have a point there.
So now people that in the village cannot be in the village, even though you still have people in the village that's still doing what they have to do.
Because now, this just goes back to foreigners coming into the country
but for
taking the job.
If the government do not
I understand that the government approves or allows it or whatever, but if these rights are not being imported, jobs are there for the villagers.
I'm sorry,
But because of jobs,
okay, you're getting. When you say foreigners, I would not say because of foreigners there's no job in Liberia.
foreigners are providing.
I'm not saying there's no job. I'm saying that they are the one who are benefiting, pretty much. So can
you tell? Because my thing is, we have just to make a little quick connection. We have the Black Americans here, right? That look at the Africans being foreigner that keep here, and they blame foreigner for taking that job away.
Who says that?
Hello?
Well, I haven't experienced that yet. I haven't experienced that yet. Foreigners taking jobs away because there is plenty of jobs here in the United States.
Listen. If a Black
just generalize and say even a Caucasian blaming a Mexican.
Right. That I understand. You don't have to understand Black Americans.
That's what I'm saying. I have not yet experienced that, so I cannot.
Okay, but I'm just telling you. So I just want you to hear me out. Okay? Because there are some Black Americans that say, oh, foreigner came to the country and took our jobs or make us to do certain jobs because maybe we wasn't doing his job or wasn't doing his job, or because the foreigner was getting paid the foreigner started getting paid less. So but they don't forget that because a foreigner doing cleaning job, that's what makes them to start working, some of them. Right? So now even though foreigner coming into the country in Liberia, I think they should give Liberians, they should use that platform for them to work with the foreigner.
But do you think the opportunity is provided for Liberians?
Do I think the opportunity is provided? No, because there's no opportunity in Liberia.
And that's what I'm saying.
There's no opportunity. So maybe the foreigner are breaking in. Because, for example, I told you I went to Liberia. Most of the businesses owned by foreigners. Liberians are working. Liberians don't have the fund. Most of them don't have the money.
It's one thing for a foreigner to come in, provide a business or provide jobs for the citizens that are already in Liberia and their people.
Right.
It's one thing to do that, but I feel like it's not the case. I feel like Liberians are being left out.
How?
Like, for example, foreigners are coming in providing jobs for their kind.
No, they're not.
For example, but you just said that Liberians are the ones who are being employed.
What do you mean? I said Liberians are being employed by foreigners that come in and getting jobs. Because most of the beaches, the beaches owned by foreigners, owned by Indians. Liberian girls are working at those bars.
Okay.
Indian girls are at those bars.
So I have a question then. So then, as Liberians in America, what can we do at this point? Because poverty is clearly it's a very touchy issue. Like we all have, it seems like we have a lot of emotions in our lives.
When it comes to poverty in Liberia, I have a lot of emotion about it because at the end of the day, Liberia is my country.
Yeah.
I was raised and born in Liberia.
Yep.
I experienced poverty in Liberia before coming here. So what can we do? I mean, sometimes it takes somebody else to grow your country.
Okay. I understand that, but I feel like at the end of the day, we also still have to put hands.
But we are. How can we put in? We're not getting money and foreigner bringing the money and putting in.
So maybe as a collective here, what are some things that we can do as a collective?
We're talking about it, and we as Liberians, American, we educate them. Maybe one day we can move from here, go to our country.
No, honestly,
I'm sorry.
I'm not.
We can leave from here and take our education back home.
Definitely. Especially the children. So I definitely agree with you.
So you're saying like moving back and creating jobs.
Those are people that know that been here for a few years that go back and helping. And you know they're not looking at the money aspect because trust me, they're not getting paid nothing. They right. Stay here and work, but they still go back and do and work and support the kids because tomorrow children are the future. Mm-hmm. Because if we can help the children, we can help poverty.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Liberia have a lot of potential, and I feel like there's a lot there that can be done. It just takes, like she said, foreigners going back, creating jobs for the people back home,
because
and things like that. And then also it takes us who are overseas that have the resources, that have the education to go back and take that back home.
Yeah, so coming up with some sort of plans to take it back.
We just need to stop sitting here and talking about our country this and that.
But take action.
Completely.
Take action. Like you have to start taking action.
You sit here, you're complaining, how foreigner is taking your job, or how foreigner going into Liberia and taking over. Foreigner are going in Liberia and taking over because foreigner are able to take loan and pay back. Liberians are not working. Foreigner that's come from India or come from different part of the country, they are bringing in money and they are opening restaurants, they are opening pharmacies, and when you walk into this pharmacy, you see that bring your man in working in those pharmacies.
And I agree with you on that. Foreigners opening jobs, if that's what's taking place in Liberia, I definitely agree with that. Like I said, I haven't been back home for a very long time, so like everything I state about Liberia and things like that is what I've heard. Yeah. So if that's the case that's going on back home and foreigners are providing jobs and things like that for the people, I definitely support that 100%. Because at the end of the day, the government, like I said, back to the government, if the governments are not providing jobs for the people and foreigners are providing jobs for the people, why not?
Yeah. With what you said as well, it sounded like you're saying us Liberians in America creating that credit source so that we can come together and then build something back there. So it sounds like to help with poverty, creating a lot of support from
easier said than done.
Yes. I think, with education and everything else, that we do have the means to be able to try to make this happen.
Yeah. And when it comes to poverty, it's a tough issue and it's a tough topic to talk about. It's not something that we're looking at to be passed over tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's something that we'll continue to talk about it.
Yeah. So
we just gotta embrace it and work and let the government.
Yeah, embracing it. My people suffering, I can't embrace.
Well, now we definitely keep talking about it. Yeah, so definitely is a topic that we can keep talking about, and we can keep coming up with some action steps that we can do. But I would like to thank you guys for being here and chatting. Thank you for having us. So thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, and definitely follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you.